I'm Dan Ketterer. I made a little presentation to show you guys just a little bit of what the experience was like at Maseno Mission Hospital. Just a little bit of introduction. What this global medicine elective really is. It's available for any internal medicine resident or med-peds resident. Carlos and I are both internal medicine residents. Desi is a med-peds resident. It's a 1-month elective to help the underserved population of Western Kenya and get an idea of the impact of U.S. medicine and global medicine, mission medicine on the rest of the world. So it took place at the Maseno Mission Hospital in Maseno, Kenya, which is on the western part of Kenya. I'll show you on a map. It's affiliated with the Anglican Church of Kenya. It's the main center of care for the small village of Maseno and many of the surrounding villages. The attending is Dr. Carrie Hardison, a good friend of Dr. Bruce Steinhauer's, and they had pretty much the full scope of care, including medicine, pediatrics, OBGYN services, and some surgical services. So Maseno, if you look on the map of Kenya, this is the whole map of Kenya. It's on the western part of Kenya here. The laser thing doesn't work. But I'll show you a little bit closer. So this is up right on Lake Victoria. You see where Kisumu is on that map? Mm-hmm. So Kisumu is the third biggest city, and Maseno is located right in where that little dot is. So it's just it's about 25 kilometers or so from Kisumu, right on the edge of Lake Victoria. And it's a very high elevation, and it's right on the equator. So it stays cool and the weather stays the same. And if you're lucky enough to climb the mountains like I did, you can see this amazing landscape with Lake Victoria. So I talked a little bit about the discrepancies and challenges of doing medicine in Kenya. Some of these things I just did not expect. Even though it was an Anglican church, people were still expected to make payments. And because of the lack of infrastructure in Kenya, you can't just say, I'm going to bill you later. You have to pay at that point. And there were so many challenges that we faced because several of the people that we didn't see were the sickest people were right outside our gate. And they felt obliged that if they were to come to the hospital, they would have to raise the money necessary before coming into the hospital. So some of the sickest people we never even got a chance to see. And some folks that did ended up coming to us had a lot of trouble leaving because payment was required. The other thing, limited access to technology. Resources there were very limited. For example, our mainstays of technology that we have here in the United States for diagnosis, CT, MRI, we just don't have those things. We were limited to a very old X-ray machine and a portable ultrasound. And those required electricity, which was very unreliable, and we had maybe about 60 to 70% of the time. So there would be days where we would have absolutely no electricity. The hospital is mainly run by clinical officers, which are folks that are similar to nurses here with a little bit more training. But there aren't that many MDs that are running these hospitals. We had a very limited formulary of medications, many of which are not used in the United States or considered old or outdated medicine. We had language barriers and cultural barriers between the different tribes, and I'm not really going to get into the last one that much, but I'll give you guys a link at the end. But I mean, it is still a country that is very much divided by its tribes, in which Kenya is made up of over 40 different tribes. And I'm just going to give you a little introduction to some of the people involved. This is Dr. Hardison, a rare picture of him smiling. If you guys will ever meet him, you will see, if you have a camera out, the guy just immediately will frown for the camera, like intentionally frown and just look like the Grinch. And that's Lynette, his assistant. She was very helpful in translating for us. We were one of the few centers in the area that would do GI procedures like endoscopy. So we would get referrals from all over the western part of Kenya to do endoscopy, which is where you go down someone's throat with a camera that's on a very long hose, so that way you can see if someone has cancers, for example. And we diagnosed many gastric and esophageal cancers that month. This is his wife, Nan Hardison, at the orphan program. She's a large part of their mission there and a large reason why they're there, and she is very active with the Anglican community there. Just does so much for for the village of Maseno, and they both deeply care about the people there.